Hey, a lot has happened the last month or so since I updated. I guess it hasn't been that long, just a few weeks. But, wait. Anyway, I have no idea. Uh, I went home for Thanksgiving. Actually, not for the actual day of Thanksgiving, but a few days before. Home being my parents' house, which isn't my home. But, I actually had Thanksgiving the day I arrived, Thanksgiving dinner on that Sunday before. And I ended up drinking a lot of wine with my mom and my brother's girlfriend and got really drunk. Like to the point where I kind of remember eating, but I don't really remember anything about dinner or after at all. Um, that's what I call overcompensation because I knew I was going to have the talk with my parents. So yeah, overcompensation, drunk. Then spent the next Monday and Tuesday hiking with my mom, and then Tuesday hiking with my mom and my dad. And Tuesday night, we were just kind of sitting around, and my dad asked if anything had changed since I sent them that letter that basically said that I was non-straight, non-female. And I said, well, yes, actually. And I told them a little bit more about the gender thing, and that's what we basically talked about. We didn't talk anything more about the fact that I have been and am in a relationship with a female, but we talked about the gender issues, the fact that I'm headed toward trans. I didn't actually tell them that specifically. I mean, I think transgender came in a couple of times, but it was more, I told them that I'm genderqueer and I want to stay in the middle for the most part, but I want my default to be male. I want people to perceive me as male, to call me sir and he and him and that sort of thing. Where, I mean, they took it really well for the most part. My mom did say, well, I could never think of you as my son. And at the time, I mean, it hurt a little bit, but at the time I'm like, well, that's not what I'm asking you right now. That's fine. Maybe later. But I didn't tell her that. But, yeah, I mean, I guess I've always been this way, so it's really hard for them to change their perception. My dad seems a lot more open to it. He actually noticed that I seemed really happy for the most part, and I told him, yeah, I'm more confident, more self-confident. I feel better about myself. I feel like I'm doing what I want to do. I'm happy. I'm actually happy. I didn't tell them that I'm also happy because I have an awesome girl. But anyway, I figured I'd let them ask those questions because I know they don't want to hear those answers very much. I told them that when I sent the letter to them, it was a great relief to me. I'd kind of been holding these things inside, which is something my mom asked me, like, well, how long has this been going on? And I was like, years. So it was a great relief for me to send that letter. I'm sure it wasn't for you, and they said, no, of course it wasn't a relief for us at all. My mom might have started crying about that point. But it wasn't terrible. Like, there was no argument, there was no yelling, very little crying, just mostly my mom, and so that was good for the most part. She was really moody the next day, and I left on Thursday and came back to Denver to celebrate with my friends. But yeah, and then last week my car started having some problems. I couldn't start it. It just needed some new parts. But I had called my dad to tell him because he usually helps me figure all that stuff out and sends my brother down to fix it and whatnot. But I ended up talking to my mom as well, and she said, well, if you'd get your life straightened out, these things kind of just left it hanging, but it made me so mad. I think she could tell that too. I didn't really say anything, but thinking about it made me so angry. It's hard for me to describe, but just like it, like my car problems and the fact that I can't find a roommate at the moment, like somehow those were punishment for my behavior or something. So that made me kind of angry. Still trying to get over that. Might have to bring that up. But I was also thinking about it. She goes, straightening, if you straightened up or whatever. And I was like, technically I am straightening up. I think I'll always identify as queer, but I am starting to identify as male, and I'm with a girl, so what does that make me? Anyway, I thought that was amusing. I wouldn't ever tell her that. That would just cause more problems. But that's the main stuff that's going on. Been going to therapy and getting that rolling, possibly hormones, but that's still in the future. There's like a trans man group that meets here in Denver that I'm getting ready to start going to. I haven't yet, but it's gonna be cool. And out at work, for the most part, they call me he. I mean, like, they've been told to. Not that it is in full practice yet, but I work with animals, and pretty much animal people are queer friendly, if not queer themselves. So I really couldn't ask for a better job for that aspect. Though I don't really want to work with animals anymore. So someday I'll work with humanitarian organizations instead of animal ones. Yep, so that's my update. Mostly happy, self-confident, liking these changes, liking being completely honest with everyone in my life. I don't know if I worked this out, but I've got the hope on my wrist, which is a really hard angle, but I want to get truth and perspective, and I'm not quite sure what yet, but truth and perspective in Icelandic as well, which helps with my journey. Yeah, being honest and putting things in perspective. Catch you later.